until our appointed chief starts on the 23rd of May. Tony, welcome, and I wish you all the best in the job. We know that you're accepting the people and you're doing a good job there. Jim also welcome Mr. Dave Stewart. For meeting the season, Dave will be doing James' job. And Dave is always welcome to our go-to man who sits in his job. As always, welcome to our directors. Councillors, we give thanks for the contribution by pioneers, early settlers, for those who fought in the various wars for the fabric of Tennant community we have today. By the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts being accepted in thy sight, they will. Acknowledgement of country, I'd like us to acknowledge the traditional custodians of this land that we are meeting on here today. I would also like to pay respect to the elders past and present of the Juckable people, Kamilaroi, Bunjalung Nation, extend that respect to other Aboriginal people present. Councillors, is there any disclosures of interest? No disclosures of interest. Apologies. Councillors, we do have an apology from Councillor Petrie. Someone like to move and second accept Councillor Shipman, seconded by Councillor Murray. All in favour? And carried. Thank you. Councillors, confirmation of the minutes. We have 3 lots of minutes to confirm, councillors. We're happy to do them in a bulk with extraordinary matters. So we have the meeting 23rd of March, which was our meeting out of Donbrook, which was fantastic. Our extraordinary council meeting on the 8th of April, an extraordinary council meeting on the 13th of April. Someone who was in attendance would like to move that they be accepted as a true and correct record. Councillor Forbes, I thank you. Move. And second to Councillor Lowe. All in favour? Yes, carried. Thank you, councillors. Reports from committees and delegates. Councillors, in our hard copy, we start on with item RC13/16. It's the report to do with the Sir Henry Parkes Memorial Management Committee. Councillor Hull, being chairperson, would you like to move the adoption of this report? Thank you, Councillor Hull. Put out second, please. Councillor Shipman, I thank you. Councillors, we'll go to you first, Councillor Hull. As chairperson, anything you want to speak on to do with the report? Yep. Any comment, questions through yourself to as chair to the chairman of the committee, councillors? All happy to receive a note. All in favour? Yes, carried. Thank you. Councillors, move on to page 11. It's item RC14/16. It's report to do with the conference that the 2 female councillors attended, the Local Government Women's Association of Gunnedah, 10th and 12th of March. Councillor Shipman, being on the delegates, would you be happy to move the report?
I'd be more than happy to. One change. Maybe the council volunteer.
Oh, okay with that. Thank you.
I'll consider it.
The reason I'm time as we go through.
Is that all right?
Yes, of course it is. Thank you. So we move on, Councillor Shipman. Councillor, before you do, you're happy to second as the other delegates?
Yes.
Okay. And go now if you have a comment.
I just think where it says Carol Shipman Council, like Carol Shipman Deputy Mayor.
Well, no, that's not true, actually. No, it's both those times. So thank you. Okay, so the report's been moved by Councillor Shipman and seconded by Councillor Hull. Councillors, before I go to Councillor Berry, I'll just go to Councillor Shipman and then to Councillor Hull to speak on the conference.
It was a nice, fantastic, informative conference. I think both Tony and I have been to. The one thing about going to these, the spokespeople are just fantastic. Very informative. I might add, we got together to write this, and it took what, almost 4 hours to write this up and talking about the conference. So it was really great. I'm very grateful to go. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Hull?
No, nothing particular to add, except maybe the thrust of the thing was, while everything's really difficult and getting everybody down all over the place, just be determined and positive, keep going. Don't give up.
Thank you. And before I go to you, Councillor Berry, just a quick, I do commend you on the report. It's a very good report and detailed, and I noticed that you focus on inspirational speakers, and it would be great to be there because that's what it's all about. It's like Chevy gets to listen to those people. Obviously achievers in the world, and that's what Councillor Berry.
Really, the delegates, what's going to change as a result of that conference?
What's going to change? I think everything was, the main thing of the conference, although the keynote speakers were very inspirational, the underlying fear all across the room was number. And it really, in a way, was a downer on the conference. What's going to change? I think they talked about networking. I didn't really understand the children joint council. And you get together, Jenny Dalton, she said one thing about it. So I don't know whether we're going to change anything, but we're certainly, my gosh, I'll be aware of it. And that's
Thank you, Councillor.
Councillor Roberts. Last vote.
Of course you can.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, Mr. Mayor. The networking thing, certainly. I mean, we've got to a position now after a number of these conferences where we have people all over the state that we just ring up and have a chat and talk about things with. But the other thing is you come away from it with an increased confidence, I think. You realise that there are other people out there doing the same things that you're doing, trying to work with their community the way you are, and they've all got the same obstacle. And you come away with a sense of doing something in a bigger world, like local government all over the state is making a difference. And I think that adds to your confidence in doing this stuff.
Yeah, of course you can. Councillor.
With my networking, I come out of a few women council, female council, on last night, they know that it's got worthwhile. So obviously, it's got worthwhile.
Absolutely.
emphatically yes. Yeah.
Good answer. And as a United Council, of course, we support that.
Believe you me, I'm sorry.
No, you answer.
I apologise, Councillor. I am, most people that know me, Gary, know that I'm Councillor. Know that I'm very, through you, very frugal with money. If I didn't think that it was worth it, I'd be the first one to knock it on the head for review. Thank you.
Before we go to Councillor Adam, I can only imagine how good our two councillors were tweaking Tenterfield while they're down there.
I remember Tenterfield.
Yes, of course they do. That's what it's all about at the end of the day. So it's Councillor Love.
Yes, I think I just wanted to draw attention to the fact that while we are members of the New South Wales Government Association, which is the council, there are other women's groups in local government and in the public sector who run conferences. The Australian Local Government Association runs what I would say, looking at the reports of South Wales, they run their speakers, while women and great achievers, the actual matter is more substantial in many ways. If we're talking about platforms or interacting with the community online, for instance. But that's another very good one. Another, we invited as councillors to go to local government professionals, which is our association, women's group, again of staff and the councillors. And again, that, I mean, I remember the Murdoch, the legal group was fantastic, but again, it was more substance, and when there are private women in the public sector conferences which go, and they also are very, very good getting addresses, like one last year. So we might just sort of keep our eye on all of those because they give a variety of emphasis.
Thank you, Councillor Love. Councillor Bishop.
I'm not going to cover on just one small point. Although this is a very detailed report, and both Tony and I take part in it, But I think to say, the councillor might assume that it is not as substantial as others, and she wasn't there. I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. We'll move on, councillors. All happy to adopt the report. On favour, against, carried. Thank you, councillors. Councillors, we move on to, before we do, and I apologise, but I need to announce this every meeting. I was reading off a different link sheet there before. To do a webcasting of the meeting, I need to say this every meeting. This meeting has been webcast for the purpose of providing live coverage to broaden knowledge and participation in council issues, and demonstrating council's commitment to openness and accountability. All speakers must ensure their comments are relevant to the issue at hand, and to refrain from making personal comments or criticism or mentioning any private information. No other persons are permitted to record the meeting unless especially authorised by council to do so. Councillors, we move on to page 14 in our hard copy. It's item RC15/16. It's a report for the Anzac September Steering Committee. I will move in a second to report. Please, Councillor Murray, thank you. Second, please. Councillor Peters, thank you. Councillors, any questions, comments to deal with the meeting? Councillor Berry.
The best person is okay, but with the Mildenville Memorial, it's approximately 87 names on it. And I'm living on the board, I can only find 26 entries in our service records for those people. Any particular people that are all any
Councillor, I'll hand you over to Mr. Dave Stewart, and he might be able to help you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Thanks for the question. In general business, you'll see that the veterans list that is on our website, that Federal advised another committee workshop cross-reference. Information on that list will be conducted very near future. That's going to cross-reference information that's been handed to us from and researched by the Family History Group in some forms, and also to now go through the names that are on all of the on boards and around the Shire, so that can be best handled, and then that information in photographs of those names go down to New South Wales Memorial Register, which is run as part of the State Library. So here's in front, we'll pick up those names.
Thanks for the question, Councillor Berry. Thanks for the time. Councillors, any more comment, questions? All happy to receive on that. All in favour? Against, carried. Thank you. Councillors, we move on to page 18. So item RC16/16, report from the Technical Shire Council SAYAS Committee, meeting held on 5th of April. Being the chair of that, I'm happy to move the adoption of that report. Have a second, please. Councillor Layer, thank you. Councillors, questions, comments to deal with the report? Just an update. As of earlier this week or yesterday, try and organise meetings to do with our federal member, and I'll throw you into this council later with the speaking of the any funding out of that meeting to do with the alignment of the voting groups renewing. We need to do costings of that before we go to our federal member's office to have some information in here. So, to steal a word off Dave Stewart, it's in train, but we need to have our facts and figures before we lay that on the table. And I've already spoken to Mr. Joyce's office to organise it, but it won't be done. So that's a good look. Had a meeting with the livestock, Australian Livestock and Rural Transport Association, which is well attended by our councillors, which is good to see, and there's representation there, and the stock real estate and the stock station the other Monday morning, which was good. So it's in a pretty good way to get some funding with the primarily out.
Yes.
So we will. Any more questions, councillors? Councillor Murray. Cool.
To you, Mr. Mayor. And there's the separation of heavy vehicle movement and pedestrian movement. Can you just enlighten me a little bit on that one?
It's all,
Does that money come from, there's a cost involved, obviously, and that comes out of the WHS levy fund?
what it is more safety. Once we've since we've done the strategic plan and our relations of Mr. Westlock has done a great job with that presentation of that. With this funding we're speaking about, we weren't in a position before when it first came out because we hadn't done a strategic plan for sales. That's done now, so we're in a better spot to move forward with that. And it's basically in a nutshell to safety, to separate the loading of livestock there and just the general traffic. So, and it's all for the benefit of the sale. Great asset for our community in this shire, obviously owned by the council. And yeah, that's what thank you for the
Thank you.
Councillor Lake.
I'd just like to say how extremely helpful the two representatives from the Livestock Transporters Association. We had two options we were considering, and once you go to agree, in discussion with them and, you know, walking around and asking questions and just imagining how we could do it, they were so helpful in us coming with a consensus on which was the best, the better of the two options. I mean, we don't know costings, but that's in hand. But they were so, and it was all done at no cost to council.
I volunteered the time.
Very wonderful.
Very good. Look, questions, comments, councillors? All happy to receive a note. Councillor Carey, thank you. Councillor, move on to page 24. It's the report from the Heritage Advisory Committee. It's item RC17/16. Councillor Hull, once again, be the chairperson of that. Would you like to move the adoption of this? Thank you. And the seconder, please. Seconder, please. Councillor Murray, thank you. Councillor Hull, being the chairperson, once again, anything you want to comment to do with the meeting?
Not particular, one little thing in particular that I think is important is that all people's properties on the Heritage Register are going to be notified of the changes to the things they're able to do to their property since our early PK interaction, and that everybody can. But other than that, it's self-explanatory.
Any questions to the chairperson, councillors, including myself, to yes, Councillor Berry?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Chairperson of the committee. The 21st dot point here. Read on the guys and minor works application RE.
What point is that? Where is it?
At the 21st, March 2016.
Mine goes up to Balustrade at 159 High Street.
Read on the guys and minor works application.
I think that was probably the building that was black and white and you know on that.
It is. What I'll do, councillor, I'll hand over to acting GM, just for comment.
For you, Mr. Mayor. Look, I'll keep it scanned because it is personal issue. I won't give you great detail. But essentially, it's an advice from our heritage advisor on the suitability of colour standards taken down by
Councillor Peters.
Yeah, thanks. Okay. Very good to the acting GM. How old is the property have to be register if it's our property worth?
For you, Mr. Mayor, there is no disability age limit. There can be old one, which is 2000 on the state heritage register. So that the age of an item or a property doesn't necessarily dictate what it's going to be on the heritage register. There's properties and buildings throughout the state that will be far older than 100 years that won't be on the register, and there will be buildings that are more recently.
I noticed that, an article, one of the papers, some of these buildings is different from the rest, 30 years old. I'm just wondering, I can't understand that. Over here, the building 30 years old.
So it has to do with the significance of that physical item to the history of it.
Councillor Lowe, did you, I'm sorry,
No.
Councillor Barrow, have you finished with your question?
Oh, I've got more questions.
Yeah, I'll allow him on another question.
Okay, it's more of a compliment than a question. Wow. The use about the work was completed.
To help you with that, Councillor Barrow, I only noticed that on Fed's Act. But yeah, I wasn't there. No, I don't know if the committee was even.
I don't know.
Definitely new group. I knew it. Very good. I meant to have an answer to get up to that. With the weather. Yeah. But anyway, that's noted. Obviously, the next meeting we will. Yeah. But Councillor, I apologise. Did you indicate that you had to say?
I didn't have a question. No, they're not on. Oh, right, okay. I'll speak up.
Yep.
No, it's just the comment about the 30 years old going on the heritage register. It could be because it is very typical of the period, of course, or it could be, you know, it could be a Harry Seidler building or a Glen Murcutt building. I think our thank there. So there we go.
Okay. Councillors, no more comment, questions? All happy to receive a note? Yes, carried. I do think that committee for the outstanding work they do is a good committee, well chaired by Councillor Hull. To do with the history and heritage in Senator, it was important that all the advice we received there from people like Deborah Ray, and that's really important. We're very lucky to have those people on board, and the job there does seem not easy, but we did get that at the end of the day. Councillors, we move on to page 29, item RC18/16, report to do with our last Aboriginal Advisory Committee held the 13th of April. Being chairperson of that, I'm happy to move the adoption of that report. Got a second, please. Councillor Gifford, thank you. Before I go, councillors, there is a typo there. We've done 5.2 on page 32 of your hard copy. It was with Blair Maxwell moving something. Obviously, he's an apology, so, but it was with Cedric Walker, so it's just a correction. I'll note that to start. Happy to take any questions to do with where the committee's at, councillors? Comment? No? Well, happy to receive a note. Yes? No, thank you. Councillors, that's the end of our reports from committees and delegates. We move on to reports from officers. We go on to page 34 for our hard copy. Item GM 021/16 to do with the National General Assembly to be held in Canberra, 22nd of June 2016. And can I move and second, please? Councillor Lay, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Berry. And I'll hand over to our acting GM, Mr. Jamie Pond, Mr. Acting GM.
Thank you, through you, councillors. The report's really self-explanatory. Essentially, it's one of the most premier events for local government nationally. It is budgeted for in the 15-16 budget, and it's recommended that the mayor and the manager be.
Councillors, any questions to acting GM to do with this report? All in favour to adopt? Yes, carried. Councillors, we'll move on to page 36. It's item GM 022/16 to do with our mechanics of draft policy. Can I move in a second, please? Councillor Hull, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Berry, thank you. I'll hand over to our Director of Corporate Services, Mr. Alan Shorter.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. We only have one policy to review this month, and that is debt recovery policy. We've done a few minor amendments. The first one is to increase the amount before we pursue debt recovery $300 to $100, and that's due to the fact that the costs over $600 right up front before we start doing anything. If somebody owes us, $200, $300, $400, as soon as we go to debt recovery action, legal action, that they had another $5 or $6. So we want to increase that, just to make it a bit fairer for them, and it's also better for you as well. Second part of that was in the past where people don't pay their water accounts, we have the ability to pick a water limit on 1 metre to reduce the amount of water. It's now been informed that we can't do that place 10 inches. So we've changed the policy to protect that. And there are a few other policy, but apart from that, that's the same.
Questions through myself to the director, councillors. Councillor Berry.
Why did we only increase it to $1,000? When I was questioned, I might be better than $10,000, $2,000. What you're paying, $2,000.
Yeah, I guess it's really just there. I mean, we can make it 1,500 or 2,000, or make it there as we like. However, most of the accounts fall within that range, so we felt that was probably.
Councillor Shipp.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, the director. 4.8, I didn't quite understand how it. Any legal expenses, including professional costs, incurred by the council for the recovery of outstanding rates and charges will be charged against the debtor. I understand that part. Subject to any limitations in respect of the amount that can be recovered, which is imposed by any statutory instrument. What do they mean by that? Didn't understand.
Just legal jargon, I guess.
I understand that part.
Basically, we can only recover up to a certain amount. For instance, if we charge, I don't know exactly, but if we charge, if it cost us $1,000, then I think there's a limit of about $500 we can charge. There are set limits as to what we actually recover. Sorry, we can charge what we like, but we can only recover up to a certain amount.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor Lake.
And I've done something else too, noting the motion that I've got coming up, which says that when we recover the rates, if the debtor owes any other monies to other government organisations or statutes, the money we recover has to be divided between all of them. So we may not even get all our rates back. And I don't know whether that's going to be changed in the Local Government Act. But it puts us in again, I refer forward to my motion, it puts us in a very weak position. We do all the recovery, I'm sure we will charge government departments for that. But we have to then give some of the money we recover to them.
Councillors, we need to be very respectful of the good work that our directors do in presenting this report. And I'm sure that as time goes on with your comment, Councillor A, that they will be right on top of all that and doing the best for this council.
Please make this comment on that. That is correct. However, we are lucky in that rates are charged on the land, not the person. So therefore, if it's a substantial amount of money, we can leave it on the rate account forever until the property changes hands, and then we can cover it if you want.
That's correct. Okay, councillors, no more questions? We're happy to receive a note. Yes, okay. Councillors, we move on to page 38. It's item GM023/16, support by the General Manager. I can't move in a second, please. Councillor Lake, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Pickers. I'll hand over to our acting GM, James McFly.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. The report is for you, council, to adopt a resolution to appoint certain delegations to the General Manager, Section 377 of the Local Government Act. Their standard delegations as dictated by the Council regulation. I will also note that there is a typo under current positions in the first paragraph, and it should read, is required for the period of his appointment. It's not.
Questions, comment, councillors?
Yeah, no, I updated on it.
Already were. But anyway, questions, comment, councillors? All happy to adopt? Against carried, thank you. Councillors, we move on to page 39, item COR 8/16, finance and accounts. Councillors, got a move in a second, please. Councillor Berry, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Lay. And once again, I'll hand over to Director of Corporate Services, Mr. Alan Short. Mr. Director.
Thank you, through Mr. Mayor. Just our monthly finance report and a couple of highlights. Well, first of all, we have term deposit at the end of the month, about 12.3 million, pretty standard, but vary a bit between 15 and 12 months. And the interest rates, best interest rates we were able to get at the moment down to 10 mark. They have been around that for a while, although last month we got about 3.05, so hopefully that's a 9-day term deposit. And just with regard to our Lehman Brothers, three different items there. The first one, the class action and pause, which was talked about in the first paragraph on the current. We should get about $370,000 back, and we're hoping that 90% of that will be covered in the first instalment to be paid. That's bonus. The second part there is class action Lehman Brothers for 134,000. We expect to get another dividend by the end of June. And the third part there is the Lehman Brothers special financing. The return of money paid to council in 2008. We still haven't got any further advice, however, it is likely to pay money back, but we don't know. It seems to be the way it's going, but this is all tied up in the American bankruptcy courts and Australian courts. So,
Mr. Director, before I go to the council, and a comment I do want to make, because of the history to do with this and how well informed we are as a council to do with our the good work that our finance, many of your finance joined us and yourself to do is keep us updated with where we're at with this, and if there's any information that's never shared with us, as it should be, then we thank you to do. And as we all know as a council, do with this council, this is old school, we don't look back, go to get a good neck, we move forward, and we're happy to receive, get the ball tied up, time goes on, we will. Councillor Lane, did you indicate that you had questions for the director to do a report? Yes.
The release that we've signed means we don't incur any further legal costs ourselves in going in this ongoing legal case. But it doesn't mean that we hang on to the money we've already been. I'm just trying to be clear in my mind.
To you, Mr. Mayor, at this stage, all I can say is it's likely to have to give some back. But as to figures, I can't give you a figure because I don't know. And regardless of legal costs, the whole idea of what we're trying to do at the moment is to, one, get rid of the problem once and for all, and secondly, to reduce possible legal costs in the future. Because we, for instance, decided to go out alone and fight this ourselves, or not join in the class action with the other group, others, we could be up for legal costs. Yeah. They could be hundreds of thousands, who knows? I think essentially all we can do is follow what the council has involved in the past, be part of this class action.
Councillor, I'm sorry, Councillor, if you have another question.
Even though after the release we are no longer a party to the action, they can still recover monies from us, even though we're not a party. That's the question. I didn't express.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. We are limited, I think, to, again, this is a very difficult area. We are limited because we signed this release. However, we still have to pay some legal costs as to what's been done in the past. We just don't know what that is.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor Peters.
Thank you for that. Through you to the director. On the previous council, when this came up, right, it was recommended by the local government association that we went to this grant security thing, and the report over taken over by Lehman Brothers. Is there any liability on the local government association for recommending that we go with it?
I'll hand that one to the director.
Yeah, sorry, Mr. Mayor. I think all of those avenues have been researched and taken out over the last, since 2008. So I think going to something like that now is probably.
Okay, councillors, all happy to receive the report. All right, yes, carried, thank you. Councillors, move on to page 41 in your hard copy. Item COR 9/16. Postal expenditure report. Can I move the second here once again, please? Councillor Hull, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor Shipman. And once again, I'll hand over to Director of Corporate Services with Down Short, Mr. Director.
Mr. Mayor, this is the monthly capital expenditure report, and it's fairly self-explanatory.
Questions to the report to the Director? Councillor Lay, yes?
Thank you, through you to Director. On page 41, I see in respect of rural fire service projects, and we're going to discuss capitalisation of the assets. It says from the 1st of July 2015. Did that happen last year? What do you mean 1st of July 2015?
1st of July 15, correct that it's in our set of financial statements. We have to do the depreciation totally.
That would be, given how much we pay, I won't say next. Thank you.
What questions, councillors, to do with the report? All happy to receive and note, councillors, all in favour? Against? Carried, I thank you. Councillors, move on to page 43. So item COR 10/16. It's the report on our loan balances. So again, can I ask for a move for a second, please? Oh, Councillor Lay, thank you. Second by Councillor Berry. Once again, I'll hand over to Director of Corporate Services, Mr. Alan Short, Mr. Director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is our quarterly loan balance report, which shows we've got 5.276 million in loans outstanding as at 31st of March. The good thing about this scenario is that the debt service cover ratio, we showed that at $7.64 for every dollar of debt that we owe. So we're in a very good position here. The benchmark set by the New South Wales Office of Local Government is $2 for every one dollar. So, yeah.
Questions to Director? No questions, councillors, all happy to receive a note? Against? Carried, thank you. Councillors, move on to page 45. It's item COR 11/16. Special revenue adjustment, realignment between the joint meetings. And can I have a move in a second here, please? Councillor Shipman, I thank you. Seconded by Councillor Murray. And I'll hand over to our GM, Mr. James Biden, to present the report.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. The report basically outlines two property ownerships which cross the boundaries between both the Shire, and the recommendation is to have the local government boundary realigned in accordance with reports about both of those property parcels to lie within one single Shire. One will be realigned to St. Holly Bananas, and one will be realigned to St. Holly. I am happy to take any questions, but I'll probably pass them.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, thanks, James. What James said is the first thumbs it up. I would just like to make one suggestion, though. The authority to carry out this realignment is in accordance with section 218B of the Local Government Act, and I would suggest that in our recommendation, for instance, in recommendation, we include that in there just so that we have a reference, because this does the sort of thing doesn't happen very often. You have to go back in fine the last time, and we've got to do the same thing again, to have a report that says where it comes from. So my suggestion would be that in recommendation 3, we put in there the recommendation, the council submit the boundary adjustment application to the Office of Local Government in accordance with section 218B of the Local Government Act 1993.
Councillors will leave the amendment. Thank you, Mr. Director, for the advice, and totally agree with that. Verify that. So I'll leave the amendment there, councillors. Happy to move with the amendment, Councillor Lake.
Yes, I'm with that.
Seconded by Councillor Perry. Councillor, with accordance with the meeting procedure, then, Councillor Lake, did you want to speak on it?
No,
Opportunity.
I understood very clearly, and there's no further. I did have a question.
I've tidied this up, we'll go to the questions. Councillor Perry. No, moving second. Did you want to speak on the amendment? Okay, councillor, we'll put the amendment. All in favour? Yes, carried. Thank you once again, Mr. Director, for the advice. And councillor, we'll go to you now for your question to do with this report.
Somewhere in here, the gentleman concerned speak of they took over roads. I can't find the reference. It's somewhere in the papers. I'm sorry, I should have marked it. And I didn't understand what it meant. That this occurred when they did something with roads. If we can't find it, or the director can't recollect it, we won't worry. It may be in the attachment. It is. Oh no, I'm so sorry, I should have marked it. This was, yes, I've got it. Their letter of the 6th of March 2016 in the attachment, it says in the first paragraph, dear Andrea, consolidate our respective funding. This would, as it was before we purchased roads. First sentence.
Oh, but there is one here which would be, you've got the last map, coloured map, and then there's a page after that. If we turn over to the next page, the letter there, that asks the acting chief executive of the etc. And in that paragraph, it says, we being neighbours, when we purchased roads in our respective enclosure permits on our common boundary. So what it suggests to me is there was land there that maybe the Crown had, and they maybe offered it to the landowners, and they've taken it up.
Thank you very much.
Okay, councillor. Yes, councillor. Question to you, Mr. Director.
Is section 218 of the Local Government Act, does that allow this type of thing? Types of boundaries,
Gee, Mr. Mayor, it includes amalgamation, so it goes from big to small.
That's not Gary.
Thank you, councillor, for the question. Councillor, any more questions to the director? No, all happy to receive and no, all in favour. Yes, carried. Thank you, councillor. Councillors, we move on now to our first report from the engineering department. It's page 470 hard copy. It's item ENG 12/16. Can I be moved and seconded, please? Councillor Forbes, I thank you. Seconded, please. Councillor Peters, I thank you. We've got the pleasure to introduce our Director of Engineering Services, Mr. Stephen Bell, as always. Welcome, Mr. Bell, and I'll hand over for you to present your report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and good morning, Council. This is the month for April. What I will do is just go through some of the highlights of the Council before taking questions if you want to describe it. I don't normally talk about staff issues, but I think it's important. We had our implementation plan for the 192. And we've also just appointed an agent in place. So that's created some issues to me resource wise. So if you were receiving any calls as to what things plan, I've been happy to pick with what they expect. That's one of the reasons we just have to have the resources management process. I saw that in the short term, and hopefully. In regards to fixing country roads, I advised council previously, or we council advised you, that we had applied for two projects under the country roads, and that we were shortlisted for a project at Mount Lindsay Road and also Bruxton Way. Those applications, the detailed applications, are on Monday, so we've been busy preparing those applications so that they can be for 1,000 feet state government. At this point in time, I can't tell you when those applications are approved because that's obviously up to the state government. In regards to the Mount Lindsay Road stage 1 section, which is that's been designed, it's now out to tender. So I'm hoping to get a lot of contracts. It's taken some time because there are some environmental issues that they're looking to address, and also the issues with the consultant responding to that project. That's in regards to Mount Lindsay Road at Wiley Creek, that's been sealed. John, that's very happy about that. It's come up quite well. Plain Station Road will be completed this week. Plain Station will be completed this week. The gravel sheeting report about construction of Lindsay Road has been finished. For those councils that have driven on any of our regional roads, we've done a lot of heavy patching and sealing. Bruxton Way, also Mount Road, which is significantly improved the viability of those roads. Bukakara Bridge replacement is continuing, quite well advanced at the moment. All the bridge work, all the footings have all been done. Trucks actually coming out of the ground at the moment. Still on track to finish that in June. In terms of water and sewer, there's been a water main replacement at White Street. It's the 2 extension on take between Logan Street and Wall Street. And we installed sewer at Wiley Street, work step up. And finally, there's a tender which has been considered at the moment, community recycling centre at Randall. We were looking at getting a shed there to actually bring the waste and dispose of it. So they're probably the major projects that I wish to discuss.
Before I go to questions, I'm going to make a couple of comments. The chair of the council, we can encourage because of the few changes in decisions to do with the department, how much time it takes it personally. We need to be respectful of that, what we've got the department do, this council, and to support you, Mr. Engineer, and give our full support in doing that. And as yesterday, with meetings with their state members, Sir Thomas George, council needs to be aware how things work and how politicians work on appointments. Engineer on London this notice came and had a very good meeting with their state member to do with many issues that we're dealing with. Thank you, Mr. Engineer, for making the time. What it does, councillors, and I say this as mayor, builds a great relationship with our federal and state members, and respectful because they have us confidence in our directors and in our acting GM also. So it's a great time to sit and speak on several things to do with our state member. And as mayor, it means a lot to me that you make that time. And once again, the relationship with these people is so important. Thank you before we go there. Thank you for the work on Wiley Creek. I think is absolutely outstanding. And down at the western side on the swamp, it's great. So thank you. Questions to do with the report to the engineers, Councillor Berry.
First of all, making general management to the director. The heavy package has been well received by the community and Wiley Creek. Is that finished up? That's what we're going to do with that?
That's good. Heavy patching, but no, I mean, I'm Wiley Creek.
Yeah. Last night, I'm not coming out and that day service the main bridge very back. and for those and road, arching top. You must not put in the corner where they would be. And I'm just wondering if it's some quite painful barrier there.
Where,
Oh, on the whole, big bank. Or,
Pretty understand. A lot of our roads don't have one marking. There are some that do, but majority of them don't. It would be an advantage of that. But there is a cost associated with it. I can take that on note and see if the budget gets the right line we put particular on. That's where you look at that. As I've indicated to council before, if there is a significant cost, we get contractors here to do isolated sections of pipelines. So generally what we do is we wait for a lot of it, so we actually get the contractor here to do it on here. It's a good cost savings. So I'll take that on note. I dare say it's speed load. We'll take it on note, and if the budget permits, we'll. Thank you.
Councillor Wright.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
And thank you.
Good.
Is the recycling stock part of the tender for the share? One, we have speak against the recycling stock.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, this particular tender is to construct a shed or extend the shed so that when you go to the landfill, you can take a look at all the things that you want to throw out and recycle and replace with things. Do that and go and do it with that. There is an aim to set up a recycling shop and it will be set up underneath the shed, but this particular tender doesn't allow for construction of a dedicated area. It'll be done.
And the second question is, the cycle path in Front Street, where is it going, on the footpath or on the road?
Through you, Mr.
I
Mayor,
can't quite imagine it when I go down there.
Mr. Mayor, turn on the path, in part, but it's also going to be on the road part of it. We've got limited route in Scott Street, and where we have resolved the upper section of the oval, we'll place it to the extension of the road, and as it comes up towards Douglas Street, on the path.
It's between Miles and Douglas.
No, that is correct. And but to do the widening on the road, that's an issue. Driveways there, there's constraints there. What I will say to council, see quotes on that project, they will come in 2.5 times more than the money that we've got, sort of going back out into the end, and then redefine the scope of works we can get done in the budget.
Very good.
Is
And thank you, I learned a new word out of your report. I didn't know what false word was until I looked it up. Thank you.
Councillors, I do need to remind you also that we've got the problems to do with the community recycling centre. We did very lucky to receive the campaign for that. We're my correct in terms of what
pretty used to be, I'm not can't say offhand, but it was quite a sizable grant. We had to spend that. Like, some reason spending that money as well.
Cool. This one's from one account. Right, Councillor Berry, you've had any more questions to do with the report to the engineer? Councillor Berry, yes, will that.
Just one more question. Director, with the variable machinery program, we spent all our special rate variation money on this program.
Out of the SRV funds, council allocated. There's only one project that is yet to be completed, but there are reasons for that. But generally speaking, when we get the SRV funds, we spend it all. So it's not that any spare money. The objective of that particular program is to develop So it's kind of what you're actually going to say. There's only one project to go, primarily because of structural problems we can access. And that's what very good.
And before I close, I think there's these in today's local paper, article in RMS, Richard Booker Crowd, which is fantastic. Good to see the project moving on this year. We're all waiting and look forward to the opening. June.
Really devastated. What I'd like to do is like that
Speaker. Yes.
Okay, so council amendments to go on site, having a look, and actually to us
In May. Yeah, good. Yeah. Okay, councillors, any more questions, comments to do with the report? All happy to receive a note? Against? Carried? Councillors, we'll do one more item, then we'll break the smoke, I think. Item ENG 13/16, so dam wall safety upgrade, progress report. Councillors, can I have a move in a second here, please? Councillor Murray, I thank you, second by Councillor Hull. And once again, I'll hand over to our Director of Human Services, Mr. Stephen, on this issue.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is the monthly report we put up in regards to progress and safety upgrade project. I won't go into too much detail on it. There are two items in the confidential area which specifically relate to this. So I'll leave it at that, and if there's any questions.
Okay. Any questions to do with the report? Thank you, Mr. Engineer. Councillors, all are happy to receive a note. Yes, Gareth. We might break the smoke up, Harry. Back in 15 minutes. Oh, I apologise, Councillor, before I go. We are, and I apologise, Mr. Treaty, we are having a workshop after our meeting to do with the rates, so we're all aware of that. And I ain't coming this evening. Never high water. There we go. You guys are always sharing it like bloody shit, man. This is what I really get to. Yes. Yes. So he was in the that's all the orange number.
Seems before yesterday, short-sightedness in children. I think that was being caused by the worst incident is China. That in countries where they push educated education. Well, it's, yeah, all the time, sometimes low life conditions.
Yes.
But I find I read the campaign on and then I go to bed, I read a book for like 20 years before my focus.
What's that?
Okay. Councillors, I'll bring the meeting back in order. Once again, thank you. And directors I'll bring the meeting back into order. Page 58, hard copy. Item opinion B, 14/16. Busy planning and environmental department. I'll move to second here, please. Councillor Schipper, thank you. Second. And gives me great pleasure to, as our acting director, Steve Planning on the first, Dr. Stewart, Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Of course,
before I go to questions, councillors, I do just a comment. To do with a business breakfast the other morning and the visit of our small business commissioner, Robert Holtz, and the comment she made about how wonderful this town looks. And for all I do thank the councillors and continue all the time you make the effort to attend such things. It's great to see the support that you show and we as a united council to such important things as that. And I want to note the comment she made and how wonderful the place looks. Of course you can.
I'm down here. We were just telling Donna about the letter that Thomas read. I read out from the posting of this book. We suggested Donna.
Yeah.
Very complimentary.
So, councillors, any questions to our acting director to Councillor Peters?
Yeah, thanks, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the director, acting director. Do we have a new weeds officer?
through you, Mr. Lee, yes, we have appointed a new weeds officer. His name is Christopher Battersby. Turns out that he's a local lady, has come home with quite a number of years home, and in fact, Big and I have been and with staff learned to attend first weeds officers.
And that not anything to do with the council, is also the coach of the Tennessee Fighters.
Yes.
Very successful. Oh, he's likely, he's a good man. Any more questions to the acting director to do with the report, councillors? No? All in favour? Happy to receive a note. All in favour? Against? Carried? Thank you. Council, we move on to page 61 in your hard copy. So item PND 15, state 16, growth industrial and medical. Cannabis?
Cannabis.
In the Tedfield Shire. Got to move in a second here, please. Councillor Murray, I thank you. Second to Councillor Lay. And I'll hand over to our acting GM, Mr. Joe Shapiro, Mr. Acting GM.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. This is an update report to Council following the meeting of October 2015. The Council resolved to contact a number of ministers expressing the Shire's interest to be put forward as a potential area for the growth of both medicinal and industrial hemp powders. Essentially, there's been a number of pieces of correspondence which have gone back and forth since then. I felt it pertinent to bring those responses back to Council for your information. So the letter was forwarded from the Honourable Barnaby Joyce's office to the Minister for Health, the Honourable Susan Blake. Council further contacted the Honourable Noel Blair and the Honourable Ruby Goward in their official ministerial capacities. Responses that we've received back are all attached there for your information. I have also tried to make direct contact with the Australian industrial clients. I have had a conversation, quite a lengthy conversation by telephone with the President of the Alliance, who was very helpful, and at this point in time we're still based on a nation package tailor-made to our needs and come back to us from the Alliance once. Look, some noteworthy points from the information that Industrial hemp growth is already actually supported within New South Wales, so it is something that can be moved upon if horticultural growers do wish to move in that direction. There is a licensing scheme through the Department of Primary Industries and the Council of Health can support that at the moment. The issue of medicinal cannabis growth has been supported and approved via federal parliament. It hasn't been formally supported or approved through state parliament, to my knowledge, at this point in time, so it's yet to be legislated, and there is yet to be a federal body created to look at the licensing around the growth of cannabis in Australia. Once we get movement and traction at the federal level on that issue, the states will have to pick up on that, and then we will be in a position to make decisions. We do support that particular issue. Now, I will note I have also included the Department of Primary Industries Hay and Profile region for your information. I was at a meeting with the general manager of the New England region late last week. One of the issues that came up was the securement of water resources, diversification of agriculture, horticulture region, something pushed for quite strongly those managers. I do see this as a potential for the New England region, including Texas at this point in time, and one of the areas I would like to see a bit of progress in being the state government, particularly the Department of Primary Industries, push to do a similar profile across our region, outlining which areas are appropriate, which areas require, etc. So that's where we are at the moment. It really is just an update for your information.
Before I go to questions, councillors, something I do want to know, and take the actual GM put it forward, and to do it because with this issue, it was a unanimous vote for this council to fully support it. I think we meaning on that. One of the jobs with the meeting lining up for that federal member in general is doing other things that go on the table. Take up with him because there's been plenty of media coverage to do with other areas at the moment. And I know he with the access to reliable, consistent crop irrigation is a good picture there. It puts the Mulwith the dam back on the map, which was announced by a federal member being in his 30s with the dams. It's a conversation I need to have with him again to deal with that and to keep pushing this and the drugs and do, but one also to involve our state government and see where they're at with this conversation. So I just need to share that with you. Councillor, do you have a question to do with the report? Yes?
I'd like to know.
Yep. Legal.
I do.
Yes.
The Northern Tables being presentation.
Gary.
Oh, good. Yeah, okay, that's good. Every government employee on the committee used to ask me because they couldn't bring anything forward to push for growing industrial hemp in the Northern Tablelands region. And we did so virtually every meeting, as George Rickard, myself, Robert Petrie and a few others used to go there. We used to push for this issue. I believe that is where industrial hemp growing in the district, not our district, but Northern Tablelands started. Okay, now I did have a guest speaker wanted to come today, but he came from Banana Road, but he's in England, he's got a crook back, and he is a hemp geneticist. He read medicinal cannabis in Holland. Yeah, and he is as far up that ladder as you can go with growing medicinal hemp. Now, I had one other person contact me wishing to grow hemp in the Shire, and unfortunately, I can't get back to him. He left his number, but it's one of those numbers you've got to text. But I can't text you about it. I'll try a few times, but he'll get back to you eventually. And the other thing I'm a bit worried about, Barnaby has been pushing Tamworth on the union. Yeah. And that has one there is connected with our genetic standard codes to the history of that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, councillor. Any more questions to the, to acting GM to do this report, councillor? Councillor Peters?
One observation, once again, I'm driving round and round in circles, just had it, radio feeling. On the ABC, I think. It is. And the other day. And I think you can get a license to drive, but it's fairly restrictive. And you've got to have a paddock, sort of like funding a little money over stuff. And it costs fairly great.
Some question, I'm sorry. Questions to acting GM to do the report? Before I close, councillors, to commend all their staff because of what we do as a council when we be a notice of motion or resolution that's build our staff to urge anyone down to our staff that then that resolution they enact on that. This particular item with the correspondence was received by all sorts of people in high places. Fully supports our staff. The job they do as councillors, we say, well, where's that at? We are always informed of the correspondence and the reports were presented, see that we're moving forward with this. Well, they're not in leaps and bounds, but it's just another step in the ladder. All in favour of receiving note, councillors? Yes. Councillors, moving on to page 64. So item NMP 16/16 to review of complying development standards. Can I move to the second, please? To deal with this item, Councillor Shipman, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Murray, I thank you. Once again, I'll hand over to Acting GM, Mr. James Price, Acting GM.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor, to all councillors. This report is to bring to you your attention the review of complying development state environmental planning policy, which is a key piece of a key environmental planning instrument under the Environmental Planning Assessment Act in New South Wales. Essentially, as a bit of background, the set outlines development which is appropriate to be built under an approvals regime, is not appropriate to be built under an approvals regime, or is exempt from an approval under that regime. The intent of the changes from the Department of Planning and Environment being exhibited at the moment are there to streamline certain approvals for inland New South Wales, and we are the easternmost shire or council in the northern portion of New South Wales will be affected by these changes. So it is something which is pertinent for us to look at. There is some statistics in the report as well as the attachment which does outline the changes in comparative to the existing provisions of the set. The reduction in assessment times for common development types is a key issue that the department is trying to address. The changes that they are making are for developments which are deemed to be of low impact, and therefore the exempt and compliant criteria do fall in line with the reduction in environmental and social assessments that are required. The recommendation there is basically the council to delegate for a submission in support of the changes to be lodged, with some additional points regarding the use of shipping and storage containers, as well as potentially income issues that may affect some council. I will add that the back of envelope calculations that I've done and that we've done internally have shown that this isn't going to have a great impact on our income in this area. However, for some councils as an industry, this may be a pertinent issue, particularly for councils further west of us. So that's great. I'll report to council.
Councillors, any questions to acting GM to do with the report? Councillor White?
Yeah.
That's fine, councillor.
Two questions and comment. On page 64, it talks the changes are to include farm buildings. Is there a definition of that? I'm wondering, for instance, would that be a workers' cottage would be included in that?
For you, Mr. Mayor, no, it doesn't include residential premises. It really is a more articulate way of saying a shed.
Thank you. And in relation to the road setbacks, what happens? I mean, we say how much can be there and no adjoining to either side buildings. What happens when
one of those blocks gets a building on it, does it have a different setback?
Through you, Mr. Mayor. Councillor, the provisions will only trigger from the time it is adopted moving forward. So anything which is built from the adoption of the new criteria set will trigger those setbacks, yes. The setbacks are somewhat larger than the setbacks. They do give a broader criteria than is currently adopted. So look, it is something that would need to be accounted for anything which is built future ones adopted yet.
And my comment is when I look at the map, which is very useful, and I see that, thank God we're in the whole Western Division, the blue stripe, which is all the coastal shires, given that joint organisations, their boundaries are supposed to be with the government based on planning boundaries, I don't think we would want to be included in that blue band, because then the DC, we would have a very different DCP.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, our DCP is largely based on the legislative requirements, so there's not a great deal in the DCP which varies from the regulated distances and setbacks and provisions for signage, etc. I don't believe that this has been done solely on planning boundaries. It has been done basically as a line down the Great Dividing Range, and anything west of has been lumped into the inland portion. Look, I can't really comment one way or another on whether it would be beneficial or not for us to be within the green or the blue as marked on the map, but it will have an implication insofar as us having to amend our DCP. The set will take precedence, so it doesn't matter what our DCP says, but just to make sure that T's and crosses are dotted. We will have to amend the DCP to account for new set criteria.
Councillor Berry.
My question to you, Manager. Mr. Mayor, how will this affect our LEP? Because my understanding is the LEP overrides SUPs.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, the provisions in the set won't affect the LEP in any way. There's no direct provisions in the LEP itself which will contradict or play a part in trying to balance the provisions.
All questions to the acting GM to do a report, councillors? No? All in favour to receive a note? Against? Yeah, thank you, councillor. Councillors, we move on to page 68. Item E and B 17/16, planning development update. Councillor Scott, I'll move the second so we can deal with this report, please. Councillor Murray, I thank you. Second, please. Councillor Berry, I thank you. And I'll hand over to our acting director of strategic planning, environmental services, Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you to the councillors, more than happy to take any questions on this report.
Questions to the acting director? No, councillors? Oh, sorry, councillor Lowe, of course.
On page 68, the very bottom, we've got a DA for a temporary event for 14 days. It's already over. I know we have to authorise what the start of, but what was this temporary event for 14 days?
I'll hand over to acting GM, he'll take this question, councillor.
Thank you.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, and look, I won't throw David in the hot seat considering that he's been in the acting chair for about 24 hours and hasn't been involved in this particular issue. But look, that particular event the application was lodged in March for the event to occur in April. It is only a temporary event, so it is basically the use of a commercial recreational site spanning 14 days as opposed to a long term. There's not a lot more I can say to that, council. Just to reiterate that the report is really just an update report for the council based on the data that we submit to the Australian System.
Is it for an increase in visitors to the venue or a different use that it doesn't normally have? It's a real anomaly when I read it.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, we're getting into the devil in the detail here, but essentially, yes, it is for a use that is not currently approved as a full-time use at one point in time. So the use is given as an approval for a short time.
Thank you.
Councillors, any more questions to, or to our banking report? Be aware, councillors, always in our hard copy, this goes from page 68 to page 73. Correct? Yep. All in favour of receiving note? Against, carried. Thank you, councillors. We're on page 74, councillors. It's item B and B, 18/16, library services, January. I'm moving to second here, please, again. Councillor Lay, thank you. Seconded by Councillor Hull. And once again, I'll hand over to Acting Director of Planning and Strategic Planning and Foreign Services, Dave Stewart. Director.
Mr. Mayor. I mean, take any questions on the report. Just to give you an update. How it works at the library, air conditioning, replacement.
So, any questions to Acting Director? Sorry, Councillor Berry. Councillor Berry.
Mr. Mayor, I won't throw the acting director into Ben, but I'm just of the opinion that the libraries are getting to the stage they're almost an academic anyway. Century out there saying that we've worried even the biggest any show that we get less land and getting more and more. You can have white I'm trying to put, I dare say the general manager thinks future use of libraries in New South.
Mr. Mayor, thank you, Council. Well, look, it's actually a very interesting topic, and it's something that myself and the second librarian in my capacity have looked at with we have been meeting Tablelands Library Committee and other libraries within the region. It's something that the New South Wales State Library is currently looking at. The library provision of library services, a provision of what you could call an essential community service to the general public and people passing through the area. There is definitely, we're definitely undergoing a change in the way that libraries are being. And the challenge for us at the moment, and the challenge for all libraries in New South Wales, is going to be adapting and moving with those changes, as opposed to either writing off libraries or trying to advance the current. You're right, there is definitely a reduction in borrowings insofar as hard cover materials. There's definitely an increase in visitation and in Wi-Fi and computer use. So we're looking at having to reassess the strategies in which direction we take. It's probably going to be interesting 5 to 10 years moving forward in terms of the provision of library services. Things are going to get digitised. We are going to have to move into new technologies more than uncovered as much as that pains. It might be helpful, but it is something which all libraries across New South Wales and London, so likely Australia.
Questions to do with the report, councillors, to do our Councillor Lay, yes.
The downtimes of the Wi-Fi during the last few months have mentioned twice, and given that that's what we're increasing, I presume that is the provider, or is it our own infrastructure?
That's our provider.
Thank you. And on the bottom of page 76, did you really have to put in the first line? Some of us are feeling comfortable. Agree.
Statistics show.
Yeah, that one, statistics show.
No, I didn't. Any more questions to Acting Director? No? Councillors, order please. All happy to receive the note, all in favour? Yes? Carried. Thank you. Councillors, removal of place 78, item E and B 19/16, being sent the field report, March. I'll move the second. Yes, I can do it. Thank you. Second by Councillor Berry. So once again, the hand over to Director of Acting Director. Forest and Services, Dave Gillett. Mr. Acting Director.
Mayor. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. To the council, having taken the question, just to note the exhibition, the Bushman, very well attended, and showing another side of J.F. Thomas, and I recommend having got to see the exhibition and what's on display. I fully recommend it.
Before I go to any questions, just fully support your comments. That display and the significance of that screen display is not national significance, I know. Very, very lucky to have that. Any questions to that be directed to the board councillors? No? We'll have to receive the note. Yes, carried. Thank you. Councillors, in removals of page 82. E and B, so item E and B 20/16, Inland New South Wales Tourism. I'll remove in a second again, please. Councillor Murray, thank you. Seconder. Councillor Hull, thank you. I'll hand over to our acting Mr. Joseph White. Thank you to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So, the report simply cancelled information. Unfortunately, Inland South Wales Tourism has gone into voluntary administration. There's not a lot of details we have at this stage. I will say that there is $5,000 of our money tied up in the organisation at the moment. I do expect that we will either get the funds back or they will be put to a future marketing campaign through the administrators that come in and take carriage of Inland. I would also use this opportunity just to note that the work that Inland has done for the council in this region has been amazing today. We would not have had our media campaign without work that put in. So they've definitely provided for us more bang for buck. We have not joined forces. Unfortunately, that's all the information we have at this stage, and the future details of today.
Question to our acting report. Councillor White, yes.
This is probably a bit speculative for you, Mr. Mayor. Is the problem that Inland Tourism New South Wales is perhaps too large an RTO, or is the problem Destination New South Wales and its?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I'm really sorry, Councillor, I can't speculate on that. The information we have doesn't definitively say one way or another what the issues back then potentially are or aren't. So until further information
Thank you. Councillors in more. I'm sorry, Councillor White.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. I just have to whose responsibility is to monitor this? I mean, what led up to this?
They are an incorporated association. They are privy and need to work under the same rules and regulations as any other registered association in New South Wales. They are responsible for the dissemination of grant funding, so on occasions, routine occasions, whether they're annually or 6 monthly. So they are required to provide reports back to both their membership base and the organisations, departments that are providing funding on the dissemination of projects, etc. But look, in saying that, they are largely responsible as any associations for their own internal processes and
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Questions, councillors still acting then to do the report? All in favour to receive the note? Answer, carry, thank you. Councillors, removal to page 84 in your hard copy. Item EB 21/16, tourism marketing, is information centre. Councillor Scott, move in the second here, please. Review and find Councillor Holt, thank you. Second, Councillor Berry. Once again, I'll hand over to acting Director of Strategic Planning and Environmental Services, Mr. Dave Stewart.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're happy to take any questions on this, given that Caitlin is not around at the moment. I may call on my brains trust general manager to take any questions. Thank you.
Questions to the acting Director, do the report. Councillor Holt, please.
Previously, like to comment,
Yes.
our 4-hour shift on Sunday, we had 93 people 4 hours.
Any good?
I know.
Just to, Councillor Berry, did you? Yes.
Just make a comment to this, Mr. Mayor. It seems to me that every turn venue of a distant area, all like, great.
The other thing I do want to know too, to thank our state members, St Thomas George, for the involved the meeting held with the tourism and economic development this dialogue scene in Lismore. Just showed once again supports the unique part of the world we sit in and how we work as a council to make it work. I really pleased and look forward to those meetings and information. So hopefully I know that they will get as much out of it. I think that's good stuff. Everyone happy? All in favour to receive the note? Yes. Councillors, that's the end of our reports from officers. We move into notices of motion. We move on to page 88. Notice of motion is item NN4/16, emergency services property levy. Councillor Lay, you've been the move of the notice of motion. Move that. Got a second, please. Councillor Berry, thank you. Councillor Lay, hand over you to present your notice of motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. People would be aware probably that next year, by the 1st of July, the state government proposing that we follow other states and instead of levying the costs for emergency services on the premiums paid by those people who insure their home, that the base of this levy be broadened and it will be levied on property. In other words, you increase the base. This is far more equitable in that those who pay insurance have been paying for emergency services used by those who don't pay insurance. And the figure is amazing how people who don't carry home insurance. I can't swear to it, but I think it's 48.something%, which is about half the population. So, other states have moved to this. In addition to that, councils have to pay 11.7% of the emergency services budget as it applies to the council area. So there are two ways that it has been paid up until now. It is proposed that when the levy goes to properties across the Shire, that of course council will collect it. Now, local government New South Wales has been, of course, in discussions with the government over this, and many councils have been very concerned. The government has said it would like to hear from councils. Hence, what I'm proposing is a letter to the Treasurer and to the Minister for Emergency Services. Local government New South Wales sees that there are 4 contingencies on the collection if it comes to councils to do the collection. that again, it's not cost shifting, that we'd be recompensed for the costs of doing this, that it is separated from the forms that go out with council rates on them and charges, otherwise there will be confusion in the community and they'll say, oh, there's council charging us yet another levy. And people will be confused. Then we come to debt recovery, when we go and sell a block of land or whatever to recover debts. That the recovery of council's rates takes precedence over the recovery of the emergency services levy. And as we've seen, currently the Local Government Act would not allow that. And also, we don't bear the risk of non-payment, liability to remain with the property owner. But perhaps one of the biggest things, and the government as yet has not indicated that it will lift the 11.7% that councils have to pay. In all other states, that has been lifted. So I think if they want to hear our views, what I've got here is in line with local government in South Wales and what they have been proposing and negotiating. We would just strengthen council's arms if we were to write to the two ministers and of course a copy to our local member, Thomas George.
Councillor, thank you. Councillor Berry, read the second if you want to speak on this matter.
Yes, I would like to say. This has caused a great deal of angst in our neighbouring shire in Queensland amongst the ratepayers. They, from the opinion that council getting the money, they're of the opinion that money's being wasted by emergency services. And personally, I think if emergency services got their act together, there'd be a lot less money being need to be spent, but that's not the issue. And I think I agree with Councillor Lay that we should go down this path and write letters to the appropriate minister and Thomas George explaining what we believe in how it should be done.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillors, I take that as because the notice of motion, there's two speakers for the notice of motion. Whoever speaks against the notice of motion. Councillor Murray, you speaking against?
Just a minute, I'm not speaking against them, I'm simply asking, making a comment from the director.
Yep, accepted.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. The main thing I got when I first read this notice of motion is that I better go home and check, I better ring my insurance company and check that it's still, my policy is still valid. But look, I did do a bit of background reading on this, and I tend to agree with the notice of motion. There's, as an industry, I think it's important that we vocalise our opinion, particularly when there is the potential for cost shifting or a resource burden to be shifted. And look, the points that have been raised by Councillor Lay are very much along the lines that I thought as I was reading through the proposal. The proposal really is to only remove the levy from insurance policies, private insurance policies. They're talking about an average saving of $40 per annum per property. But in effect, what they're doing, and they've effectively got some very positive comments back from QBE and RMA and some of the big insurance players when you read through some of the submissions and some of the media articles throughout at the moment. They're talking about a reduction in policy costs of about $200 per annum per property, whereas that will be replaced by an increased levy of about $160. They're very loose back level of figures. They're saying maybe a saving of around $40. What will actually come out is yet to be determined. But the cost, again, is that the proposal is to local government to collect and manage the funds on behalf of the emergency services. Now, I'm not having a dig by any means emergency services. It's a great job, and the services are very much needed, particularly in regional New South Wales in areas where the RFS are a key part of human but there is some very pertinent points that need to be raised here, and I think Councillor Lay's done a pretty good job in summarising that. One, there hasn't been any note of removing the ESL that's directly charged to councils based on our operating budget, and that there is an impost for us to collect and manage these funds, which hasn't been first.
Thank you, Mr. Acting. Right. Councillor seems there's no speakers against. Councillor May for closing comments to do with this motion.
Thank you. Like others, I went to the meeting to look at my insurance policy, and the emergency services levy that I pay is more than 1 month's premium, which is considerable.
Okay, councillors, closing debate on notice motion. All in favour of notice motion? Yes, carried. Thank you, councillor. Thank you. Councillors, we move on to our next notice motion from page 90. It's item 10M by 16. Notice motion established next to Park Shop Front Tenfield, for the Lord by Councillor Berry. Councillor Berry, you happy to move this notice motion? Come second, please. Councillor Peters, thank you. Councillor Berry, bring your notice motion. You want to speak?
Yeah, I'd like to keep it simple. It's pretty well self-explanatory. My idea of this is some of the most iconic national parks in New South Wales was Bald Rock, and I do think that we do need a shop front in Tenfield. For nothing else, to maintain a couple of jobs in the show, because I'm getting one of these 7 national parks, or heritage listed parks, and it'll be really, you really need one person full time at the business centre to explain all the national parks to them. And why should council or community debate that it should be really national parks promoting their own material? Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Peters, speak the second of the notice motion. I'll just make a comment before I go. Councillor Berry, the question I have is, what do you expect? So, because you are aware that there's a next month's office stuff. So you are just so Brian Berry, so you'll refer to something. Okay, there are 2 speakers for the notice motion. Is there any speakers against the notice motion? You just have a comment or question.
I have a statement to make.
Yeah, don't use your microphone.
Yes,
Good.
I'm certainly in favour of it, but you want against this, don't you?
I'm sorry, no.
No, all right.
I'm happy with what I've done. Just clarify whatever.
I'm just checking with you.
No, it's all right, Councillor. What I've done, I've taken the move and second officer speaks for the motion. I have asked for speakers against. There is none. I'm happy to take a comment or whatever you're going to do.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Through you, the comment I'd like to make was my last day I had 72 people, and I'd say 95% national parks, council areas spot on there. So on Monday morning, I went over to the office of the national parks to get information to take back to them. They haven't got anything there that different to what we have anticipated. So although I agree with you, I think it'd be great. I used having a government presentation of the business centre, which is a lime green coloured map where the dates is. So
Yeah. Councillor Hull, you speaking against or just a comment? Okay, I'll accept that.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I would have to say also that most inquiries are Sunday. However, generally speaking, questions that can be answered if we have reasonable knowledge. And if there's a copy of the national parks in South Wales Temple,
Yeah.
which seems to run out of option. But other than that, I can't see that an office would supply any more information than this centre. There are maps on these important things. I'm not sure what else.
I just, before I go to the council line, it's a really interesting point. I tell you, not so much the shotgun, but it's been mentioned by your second that maybe it's something we make better in information to do with this. So we have to check the whole supporting. Only reason I mentioned that, I mean, to the murder of the notice, that be mentioned in this place. I don't know. Rather than a shop like that, that be improved, or whatever's in the information center, improved or at least supported by national parks to keep the information. I don't know. Just suggest. I'll go to Councillor Lane before I. Cool.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Councillor, or Councillor Shipman. Is there any information in the business centre about those parks that aren't in the northern tableland trees as in those ones? The Captain's Creek, Nature Reserve, etc.
There's no Canterbury, there's none. But no, but Councillor Hull and I went up to visit Erdenville about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We got national park information from most of us, but it was put out by Code, but we can only bring one copy back. That's right.
Councillor Lane.
Yes, this is comments. One of the things that national parks certainly do to improve visitation in our parks is signage. Queensland has great signage, one for Euroway as you're coming down the highway. I always think it's all rock because they've got a great big rock and they should have our rocks. No, we don't have anything on the approach to Tenterfield or on the Mountain Road. And I think Councillor Berry's motion is about perhaps energising, I know we don't get a lot of people, energising national parks to better promote the parks in this shire. Signage will be one thing I'd hope to see. But I also have to say that they have become more active, from what I hear. For instance, they ran a breakfast and they funded it during Oracles for the Bush. And that was the first time, and they were very keen about that. So I sort of think there might be a bit of a wave and we could capitalise on it. But I would like signage. I think we've got empty shop fronts, I don't mind it. The more that we fill them, the better. But maybe the visitor centre is a better idea, but I don't know, I can't comment on that.
Thank you, yes, Councillor Murray. Everybody's had a comment so far.
Just simply a comment.
Yeah.
I take your point. And, putting that into this is a basis, because you're going to incur an expense here for shop rental. And I'd much rather see it get next. The land, you know, rather than.
We're going all over the place with this.
That's my.
Okay, Councillor Berry, I think it's been probably made on that. Are you happy to, as far as the wording of the matter, are you happy to stick with that, or you've got a few suggestions as far as supporting something to make the visibility of the national park and what they offer, national parks, I'm sorry, what they offer as far as information. Parks, and I mean national parks, not tourist, as you've suggested. Maybe in our information centre, I'm going to suggest that you'll know some right.
James and those information. Just on the comments here, point about supporting this. And one of the things that needs to be all the signs. And one of the things that we're concerned about is northern areas, I think, because of different park regions, forest regions, and that is a disadvantage to our shire. And that was the basis of the National Parks Office. Look, I don't know whether it should be in the business centre or it should be in itself, but National Parks got a fairly big budget. So somebody wants to Then my motion, I have to go on.
Well, I'll give you the opportunity to.
I'll leave somebody else in the kitchen.
No, I'll give you the opportunity to move. That's, it is agreed. Advocated by the Central Shire Council, I mean, this council will be okay to establish the next park office and shop front. Okay. Meeting in the CBD. Councillor Lane, yes, while we have a conversation about it.
No, well, there's a question really, acting manager, or perhaps an amendment, which is that if we were to change this, for instance, to establish not a national park office, but a national park shop front in Tenfield, how do you feel about we putting something like, and consider the possibility that this might be a visitor centre, because this comes under your responsibility?
Through Mr. Mayor, look, I really don't have any comment as to the establishment of a shop front. I think if the council wants to advocate for a shop front, that's one thing, but if the information is not there to begin with from the national park side of things, then having someone standing behind the desk or a counter isn't going to be of any real benefit. In terms of the shop front being in the business centre, certainly something we can accommodate. There is shared service centres all over the country when it comes to shared government services. I don't see it being a problem. The ins and outs and how it actually work would be something we'd have to sit down with national parks and discuss if they were amenable. That's really all I can say.
Councillor Peters.
Maybe you want to contact that park and find out what we do every hour. And I'll say no. Contact the park.
Councillor Hall, could you like to do something?
Oh, this is very good. I just wanted to mention that the real problem is resources to do that.
Yes.
We can tell where the parks are,
Yep.
but we haven't got that hands-on stuff to say, this is what you'll find there, this is how far you have to raise it, unless you've been there yourself. And you can tell them.
So obviously that information would need to come from the department.
Yes, they have lots. They need to do things.
Councillor, bear with us, I think we'll get there at the end of the day here, we'll try and tidy this up. No, because I seriously mean, this is good stuff, we're sincere about it, council's sincere about it, but we need to be, do the correct thing. It's a notice motion, as far as the meeting procedure go, I need to deal with that. Our mover's got the opportunity to make an amendment, give that opportunity. So I will go here now, there'll be plenty of although there's nothing on against it, feel, plenty of comment, it's been positive, but Councillor Vera, I'll go back in after you close the comment, and if you wish to make an amendment change to start the month.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know really where to start with an amendment because, like I said, it's obvious it could be in the business centre, it could be anywhere, but how thrust of my motion to have all, I should say, all the national parks in the Shire promoted.
After the Tenfield Shire Council to establish, where are you putting
all established national park office. We should put there, all the national parks in the Shire. And just to do what's do that.
This right is with the Tenfield Shire Council to establish a national park office. All the national parks.
And promote all the national parks.
And within the Tenfield business, major centre.
All the office. Yeah.
You happy with that?
Yeah.
I'll come to the council. See what that means. But just have to think about that, Councillor Berry. Councillor Lay, you had a comment.
It was just I clarified the amendment.
If the mover is happy to,
and promote all of them. Consideration could be given to establishing this in the Visitors Information Centre. It sort of makes it just a little bit, it's not as prescriptive, and it doesn't really commit us or them. I don't know. To establish this shop front. Yes,
Councillor Berry, very movement. Is there a reason? What I'll say, councillor, so we will all get this in mind. If councillor writes to the Honourable Mr Thomas George, so our statement will be like a conduit between requesting him to advocate, so he's advocating between the General Victoria Council and the National Parks. To establish a National Park office. Is that what we're leaning towards? I've got no problem with that. I mean, I'm happy to support that and have the conversations. And we'll meet with the National Parks to provide this. We need them on the same page. No, I think they're fine. Yep. Yeah, of course.
Best interest, just reading at the council writes down, Thomas George, requesting him to advocate on behalf of the council to establish a National Parks office. That office is already in existence. So that wording.
National Park, Chopper. Councillor, there's the mover, Councillor Berry. Okay. Okay, so, sorry, Councillor Murray.
Should it not read to promote instead of and promote?
One thing we're all having to say. Righto. What do you think? Mover's got to be happy. Okay. I'll read the Councillor Berry's with his changes. Right. That council writes to Honourable Thomas George, MP, requesting him to advocate on behalf of Central Shire Council to establish National Park shopfront to promote all the national parks in Central Shire. Consideration could be given to establish a shopfront within the Tenterville Business Information Centre. Councillor Hull, would you have some comment?
Could I suggest, please, a comma after advocate, comma after council. So we have an enclosed clause that makes no difference substances.
Thank you, Councillor.
Criminalism.
Thank you, Councillor. Okay, Councillor. We'll go to you, Councillor Berry. Brendan. Okay.
Advocate for the establishment of.
Yes.
For the establishment of. Okay, instead of behalf.
No.
For the establishment of, instead of, to establish.
Okay.
You advocate for, you don't
For the
advocate.
establishment.
Yes. For the establishment.
Of a national park shopfront.
Yep.
Okay. Councillor Berry, please, I will read that to the sake of the whole council again. Yeah, we'll toy with it. Okay. Nice motion. The council writes to Honourable Thomas George, MP, requesting him to advocate on behalf of the Tenterville Shire Council for the establishment of a national park shopfront to promote all of the national parks in Tenterville Shire. Consideration to be given to establish this shopfront within the information centre. Councillor Berry, being the member of the base motion. Okay. Councillor, did you want to place a comment before we put?
I'll just make one brief comment.
Yes, of course.
I think, I'm pretty sure, that all the maps and things is already been provided by the government.
Yes.
But I'm not sure what else you want to do.
No, but that's not.
This is not Scott's question.
Yeah,
There's already a huge national park presence in the building.
but this can benefit. You're saying that it's good for them. But there has been comment made that, I thought on the vote, it's volunteers.
And
That maybe there isn't enough information.
well, they need to spend their information.
I'll go to Councillor Berry for closing comments to deal with the notion motion.
Thank you. With the two councils that work in this centre, both said that there's not enough information. Whereas if we had a full-time national park person, I'll say person, because is correct thing to say these days, that person should be able to give direct information on the conditions of the roads, the tracks. They should have, in other words, they should have first-hand knowledge of all the national parks in the Shire. I think that's very important because if we get people lost in Moorrock Park, they get lost. So I should already go in the national park. But they go to the park, they go up there at the wrong time of day, whereas you could have somebody at the visitor centre saying, look, it's not safe to walk up there after 3:30 p.m. on a summer's day, or it's not safe to walk up there after, say, 1 o'clock on a winter's day because of the time limits that these trails will take, and not safe to walk up the place with stone. This type of thing could be given personally, whereas it's very difficult for any of the volunteers to give that type of, or to say, hands-on information to them, and especially when you get some of the other parks that are less well known, schools and things like that. But seek permission to get to through private property.
So I was closing debate on the council.
Not a debate, I just don't want it to cost.
Right. Yeah. Is that a question or?
No, it's going.
Okay.
No cost.
I can't see the. Should, okay. Right, we'll close the debate on the notice of motion, councillors. We'll move on Councillor Berry, second on Councillor Peters. All in favour of the notice of motion. Against, carried. Thank you, Councillor Berry. We've got that. Councillors, what we'll do now, as we go through our to do with our business, we're out to urgent business without notice. Not that it's urgent, but it's the best place I can get it in. I do want to, with the support of the council, just write a letter of thanks to with our openings, Tony Haywood and Johnny Dunn while he was here. And so with your support, I want that letter to him. Okay? Yeah, thank you. Sorry, Councillor. Yes.
Very,
Yes.
That was excellent.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that in there, and I'll note it in our business plan. That we know that it's not urgent, but it's just where I want to fit it. Councillors, moving to confidential matters, considerations, guys, part of the meeting. Someone like to move, we go on the confidential, please. Councillor Lay, thank you. Second, please. Councillor Holder, thank you. All in favour? Someone please check the doors closed. closed. I need to read the recommendations from the comprehensive meeting. One, that the Federal Water and Wastewater Construction Tender will correct them safety upgrade to receive and noted and further. Two, the council will intend to correct them safety upgrade construction tender to Geotech, cost of $5,381,288.80. That contrary, the contingency amount of 8% be added to the lump sum tender amount to cover any potential variation of the dam wall upgrade project. The second item we dealt with, councillors, recommendation directed to engineering services report tender 06-16/18, provision of street sweeping services intended will receive and noted and further. Council awards a tender 06-16/18 subject to regional council. Provide a weekly sweeping service intended for CBD, supporting sweeping service of public car parks for a 2-year period of supply commencing the 1st of May 2016 and ending the 3rd of June 2018 at a cost of $5,610 per month for the Tenterville CBD streets, $470 per sweep for each car park. The third item we dealt with, councillors, the recommendation that the Director of Engineering Services report tender 07-15/16, Tenterville Creek Dam Safety Upgrade, provision of project management and contract legal services and construction surveillance be received and noted and further. Two, council awards a tender of 07-15/16 for the provision of project and contract management services and construction surveillance to Alpha Omega Holdings, limited for a cost of $525,640 to oversee the post-tension construction project. Councillors, is there any questions for our next meeting? No questions for our next meeting. Thank you all very much for your attendance. Thank you, directors. Acting GM, for good work, and the meeting is ended. Peace and harmony. It's happening. And councillors, this week, we thank everybody for the efforts we made Anzac Day in attendance. Well received it very, very good. I'm sure that we're all very pleased with that. Thank you.
What time do you want to reconvene?
Oh,
Right, yes.
well, good morning. I'm going to do lunch first. We do it now. What are you going to do?